Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon ulit. Ayun.
Good afternoon, Sir Arnold.
Good afternoon, Attorney. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, Sir Arnold. Good afternoon. Good
Good
afternoon po.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Uh, Yan ang signal dito.
Secretariat, may quorum ba tayo? Okay, mayroon. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon. As usual, I think let's start our activity with the prayer. So may I ask the Secretariat to lead the prayer?
Yes, sir. We'll do the prayer for today's meeting. Ma'am Eloisa, please lead the prayer for today's BAC meeting. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of the Lord. Almighty and loving Father, we praise and adore you. You are the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. We humbly ask for your forgiveness with our sins, and may send your Holy Spirit in our meeting today to be our guide. Grant us wisdom and understanding, Father God, on all the matters at hand. May you continue to enlighten our minds and bring success to us. We thank you, Father God, for your goodness and mercy towards us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so before we start, I would like to acknowledge and welcome our new members of the TWG as well as the Secretariat. Kasi nagbago yung mga members ng TWG at Secretariat pero yung back members ay pareho. So welcome to back Alpha. And I hope magugustuhan niyo dito. Okay. So Secretariat, please make a roll call.
Yes, sir. I will, sir. Thank you, sir, for welcoming us, the Combating Secretariat, and the other newly designated technical review for BAC Alpha. And for the roll call, Mr. Chair, for the BAC members, present for today's meeting is the Vice Chair, Sir Arnold. Good afternoon, sir. Then we also have Brigadier General Ernesto Armilo. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, present, sir.
Present as
Online.
well. Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Present as well is Engineer Elmer Gomez. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, present, divine.
Hello, sir. Uh, we also have Attorney Frank Edward G. Marty, the head of the Technical Working Group for BAC Alpha.
Present online.
Good afternoon, sir. Engineer Raul Cosena,
Present online. Good afternoon.
Engineer Michael Ian G. Ilagan, Engineer Eva Ilazatin,
Present po online. Good afternoon.
Engineer Joe Perand Joseph Ito Raparangka. Sir. Then we also have Engineer Eduardo Moises Isacupon. Sir.
Present online.
Engineer Norik Baez.
Present. Good afternoon.
Then Mr. Mark Kevin A. Badwa. Okay. May I ask also as well the end user for the ANS for the projects to be presented today as part of the agenda items. May I know who is the end user?
Present, sir.
Sir Florian po pala. So, out of the 7 BAC members, Mr. Chair, we have 4 present now. And it is therefore declared that there is a quorum for today's BAC meeting, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Secretariat. How about the observer?
Sumunod ka kay Jopet.
Did we send invitation from them? And
Yes, sir. We also send the invitation. And not to forget as well the presence of our overhaul head, Engineer Lando R. Vasquez, for the head Secretariat, Mr. Chair. Chair Leandro.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Present.
Okay. Okay, so okay, to start with, may I know the agenda for today?
Yes, sir. Mr. Ezra Peñahuas, kindly flash the agenda for today's meeting. First in the agenda, Mr. Chair, is the pre-bid conference for the project entitled Supply, Delivery of Meteorological Instrument for Catbalogan Airport, Rebid, bid number 22-003-02 Alpha, with an ABC of 9,696,850 pesos. The end user is ANS.
Okay, ANS, may I know who is the end user representative for this?
I think Sir Florian kanina po, Mr. Chair. Sir Florian, kayo po ba rin dito sa pre-bid?
Attorney Dartby. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. This is Norik po. I'll be the one to present the for the pre-bid.
Okay.
Okay, so no, but Norik can just so nandito si Rose will be representing as the end user for this project, and the TWG will be the one to present. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so proceed, Norik. By the way, this is pre-bid conference. Is there a representative from the prospective bidders?
As of this time, Mr. Chair, as per checking in the online of the Google Meet, Mr. Chair, we have no participants or prospective bidders for the pre-bid for this project, Mr. Chair.
Did we
Unless,
send the invitation?
yes, sir, it is already published in the PhilJeps, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
And since it's a public bidding, sir, the same was also posted in the CAAP website.
Okay. Okay. So anyway,
Yes, sir.
this is live streaming. So
Yeah,
we hope they could replay or if ever they have some queries for this project. So Nurik, you may proceed with the presentation.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. Baksek, can I share my screen?
sige, sir, please po.
Thank you. Pleasant afternoon to everyone. So welcome po to our private conference for the project Supply and Delivery of Meteorological Instrument for Catbalogan Airport Rebid project under bid number 22-003-02 Alpha. The outline of the presentation, starting with the invitation to bid, the corresponding BDS or the instruction to bidders with the corresponding BDS, then followed by the general conditions of the contract with corresponding SCC, the checklist, and finally the discussion or clarification for any questions from any prospective bidders who might come join us. So the CAAP through the OTR CAAP MOA 2021 for the site acquisition, procurement, and implementation of various airport projects intends to apply the sum of 9,696,850 pesos, being the approved budget for the contract to payments under the contract for the supply delivery of meteorological instrument for Catbalogan Airport. So bids received in excess of the ABC shall be automatically rejected at bid opening. So CAAP now invites bids for the above procurement project. Delivery of goods is within 180 calendar days. So bidders should have completed within 5 years from the date of submission and receipt of bids a contract similar to the project. And the description of an eligible bidder is contained in the bidding documents, particularly in section 2 of the instruction to bidders. Bidding will be conducted through open competitive bidding procedures using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion as specified in 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Bidding is restricted to Filipino citizens or sole proprietorships, partnerships, or organizations with at least 60% interest or outstanding capital stock belonging to citizens of the Philippines and to citizens or organizations of country the laws or regulations of which grant similar rights or privileges to Filipino citizens pursuant to RA 5183. Order on the invitation to bid. Prospective bidders may obtain further information from CAAP and inspect the bidding documents at the address given during office hours from Monday to Friday, except declared holidays at the back office. So the bidding documents may be acquired on April 12, 2022 until the deadline of submission of bids from CAAP back office, Mia Road, Pasay City, and upon payment of the applicable fee for the bidding docs pursuant to the latest guidelines issued by the GPPB in the amount of 11,200 pesos inclusive of VAT. CAAP shall allow the bidder to present its proof of payment for the fees to be presented in person. Bidding documents may also be downloaded free of charge from the website of PhilJeps and the website of CAAP, provided that bidders shall pay the applicable fee for the bidding documents not later than the submission of their bids. So bids must be duly received by the BAC Secretariat through manual submission at the office address given on or before 26th of April at 2 p.m. Late bids shall not be accepted. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any of the acceptable forms and in the amount stated in ITB Clause 14. Bid opening shall be on the 26th of April 2022 at 2 p.m. at CAAP back office and or via online conference through Google Meet will be open in the presence of the bidders' representatives who choose to attend the activity. So CAAP reserves the right to reject any and all bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award a contract at any time prior to contract award in accordance with Section 35.6 and 41 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 without thereby incurring any liability to the affected bidder or bidders. For further information, please refer to Engineer Leandro R. Vargas, the overall head BAC Secretariat. For the instruction to bidders with the corresponding BDS, starting off with the eligibility of bidders under clause 5.3. For this purpose, contracts similar to the project shall be A, supply and delivery of meteorological equipment, and then B, completed within 5 years prior to the deadline of the submission and receipt of bids. Under clause 7.1, for the subcontract requirement, there will be no no subcontracted portion. For the documents comprising the bid eligibility and technical components, for clause 10.1, as per CAAP memo dated 17th of September 2018, regarding the disqualification of prospective bidders with pending case against the government in the procurement activities of CAAP. So all prospective bidders shall be required to submit one, a certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government, in addition to the eligibility requirements for bidders as prescribed under 2016 revised IRR of RA 184 and legal clearance to be issued by CAAP ELS with respect to the non-pendency of any cases of prospective bidders against the authority. And also the accomplished revised Annex A ITB. For applicable items, the bidder shall indicate in the technical component on a separate sheet using revised Annex A ITB 10.1 form the brand, type, and or model or version and quantities or unit of each of the proposed equipment or subsystems and ancillaries. This document shall be signed by the bidder's authorized representative. So the bill of quantities with corresponding price schedules in the accomplished financial form shall be consistent with and referenced to all plans, designs, and layouts submitted in the technical bid proposal. And for the checklist requirements, bid opening requirements as specified in Section 8 for the checklist of technical and financial documents. So bids not complying with the above instructions shall be disqualified. For the bid prices, under clause 12, the price of the goods shall be quoted DDP at Catpalogan Airport as defined in the latest international commercial terms. Further on the bid prices requirement, uh, under clause 12.1, lowercase a, lowercase Roman numeral 4, incidental services for goods offered from within the Philippines include but are not limited to the following. All expenses for the processing of permits and then licenses shall be part of the price schedule of the equipment. The provision of cables, grounding, surge protection, and other additional or auxiliary electrical adapter, signal converters, connectors, components, fixtures, interface, fittings, mountings, kits, cable management, etc. for the different equipment to meet operational and functional requirements. The prices for these incidentals um, shall be incorporated to the equipment listed in the BOQ of the schedule of requirements to which it is primarily related, and then importation licenses and permits. For the incidental services for goods offered from abroad include but are not limited to the following: provision of cables, grounding, surge protection, and other additional or auxiliary electrical adapters, signal converters, connectors, components, fixtures, interface, fittings, cable management, etc. for the different equipment to meet operational and functional requirements. So prices for these incidentals shall be incorporated to the equipment listed in the BOQ of the schedule of requirements to which it is primarily related. So export licenses, permits, VAT report, verification, and related documents, related equipment tests, installation, operational maintenance, and other forms of manuals and system and circuit diagrams. For the bid security, The bid security shall be in the form of bid securing declaration or any of the following forms and amounts. The amount of not less than 2% of ABC if bid security is in cash or cashier's manager's check, bank draft or guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit, or the amount of not less than 5% of ABC if bid security is in surety bonds. The sealing and marking of bonds, each and every page thereof shall be initialed, signed by the duly authorized representative of the bid. Eligibility, technical, and financial documents shall be properly marked with index tabs, ear tab, with, and must sequentially paginated in accurate order in the form, uh, for example, page 3 of 100. The page number of last page of the document shall be per envelope basis. Pagination should be sequential based on the entire span of the whole documents inside the envelope. Then each bidder shall submit one original copy of the first and second components of its bid. So bids not complying with the above instructions shall be automatically disqualified. For the deadline of submission of bids, so bids must be duly received by the BAC Secretariat through manual submission. The address of or the address for the submission of bids is the back office, CAAP, Old Mayor Road, Pasay City, 1300. For the detailed evaluation and comparison of bids requirement, clause 19.2, partial bid is not allowed. The goods are grouped in a single lot, and the lot shall not be divided into sublots for the purpose of bidding, evaluation, and contract award. For the signing of contract under clause 21.1, the contract shall, or rather, the contractor shall be responsible for securing all necessary permits um, from respective offices that may be necessary for the installation of the equipment at site. The cost of acquiring such permits, including its processing, shall be borne by the contractor. Clause 21.1 further, the following documents shall be submitted together with the technical proposal. Number one, certificate of exclusive or authorized distributorship issued by the OEM of supplied equipment. Number two, ISO certificates or its internationally recognized equivalent of manufacturer of company or OEM. Number three, latest official OEM equipment, technical characteristics, specification, and or sales materials reflecting all performance and functional specifications of the proposed equipment. So bidders who fail to comply shall be disqualified. For the general conditions of the contract with corresponding SCC, for the scope of the contract, for the purpose of this clause, the procuring entity's representative at the project site is the ANS Area Field Office Chief in the person of Ambrosio R. Madriaga, with the contact numbers shown on the screen, or any authorized representative at Catbalogan Airport. And then further on the scope of the contract, the contractor or supplier shall warrant the entire equipment, assembly, software, and related deliveries for 1 year warranty period for both parts of service. So for wind speed and wind direction sensor, barometric pressure sensor, relative humidity and temperature sensor, radiation shield, connection and termination box, central computing system, data logging system, NEMA 4X, stainless steel enclosure, MED software, and configuration software, uh, etc. So, shutdown for repair or service, the contractor shall provide and deliver service equipment with equivalent performance as temporary replacement of a defective equipment. So, as stated above, in order to maintain continuous service to the air navigation facility. So the contractor or supplier shall describe the proposed support provisions within the warranty period. Contractor or supplier shall OEM issued guarantee that the longevity of spare parts for the equipment supplied shall be at least 10 years after the project acceptance. For the advance payment in terms of payment conditions of the contract, so this is a turnkey project. Payment will be after issuance of project completion, certification of CAAP. The inspection and test um, conditions. The inspections and tests that will be conducted are A. Verification, inspection of meteorological equipment and conformity to contract specification. B. Verification, inspection of frangible mass specifications. And C. Verification of equipment factory test report before delivery acceptance. For the schedule of requirements, the project requires 2 lots of meteorological sensor, 1 lot of data collection and central processing system, 1 lot of telemetry system, 2 lots of frangible 10 meters pass with lighting protection and obstacle light, 2 lots of meteorological equipment power source, 1 lot of DAB power uh, cable and splicing materials. DB is the earth burial, power cable, and splicing materials. And lastly, 1 lot for factory acceptance test report and training. For the checklist, for the technical component envelope, Class A documents, the legal documents should be consist of a valid Philchips registration certificate, platinum membership with all pages, or registration certificate from SAC, DTI for sole proprietorship, or CDA for cooperatives or its equivalent document, and mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or areas, and tax clearance as finally reviewed and approved by the BIR. For the technical documents, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any. So whether similar or not, similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. And the statement of the bidder's SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided for in sections 23.4.1.3 and 23.4.2.4 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. So within the relevant period as provided in the bidding documents. And original copy of bid security, if in any form of the surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission, or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration and conformity with the technical specifications, which may include production, delivery schedule, manpower requirements, and or after sales or parts if applicable. And the original duly signed omnibus sworn statement, and if applicable, original notarized secretary's certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of authority of all members of the joint venture, giving full power and authority to his officer to sign the OSS and to act to represent the bidder. Technical documents required in items 8.7 of section 7, technical specifications using the certificate of inspection as attached. But actually, this requirement, item J, um, is meant to be corrected to be supplied by a bid bulletin. And then for K, accomplish revised Annex A ITB 10.1 form using the attached form in the bid docs and the bid bulletin if applicable. For the financial documents, the supplier's audited financial statements showing, among others, the supplier's total and current assets and liabilities stamped received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. And the prospective bidder's computation of NFCC or a committed line of credit from a universal or commercial bank in lieu of its NFCC computation. For the Class B documents, if applicable, a duly signed joint venture agreement in case the joint venture is already in existence, or duly notarized statements from all the potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the JVA in the instance that the bid is successful. So other documents requirements, other documentary requirements under RA 9184 as applicable for foreign bidders claiming by reason for their country's extension of reciprocal rights to Filipinos, certification from the relevant government office of their country stating that Filipinos are allowed to participate in government procurement activities for the same item or product, and certification from the DTI if the bidder claims preference as a domestic bidder or domestic entity. Okay. For the financial component envelope, the original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form and original of duly signed and accomplished price schedules. No? For the price schedules, it should be identified whether it's the price schedule for goods offered from within the Philippines or price schedule for goods offered from abroad. And these forms are available via the GPPB website. Okay, so we are now opening the floor for any discussion and further clarification for this project, Mr. Chair.
Norit, you did not mention how many copies are we going to receive. Is it one copy or are we going to receive a bid with a duplicate copy?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Could you please repeat your?
With regard to the submission of bid document, because there are some issues before wherein we are requiring only one copy and then there is a bidder wherein instead of one copy, he submit two copies. So I think it's very important to clarify that.
Um, to clarify that, sir, we stand with the um, any submissions that is more than one copy would not entail any disqualification because in the first place, one copy would suffice, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Secretariat, mayroon bang nag-register na sa online na bidder?
There is none, Mr. Chair. No one participated or attended any prospective bidder, Mr. Chair. As per our
Yeah, okay,
checking,
so
there are
since no prospective bidder online, so what is the recommendation of TWG? We or any of the end user, we continue the opening of bid on April 26.
yes, Mr. Chair. As per the field jobs posting, it is April 26, Mr. Chair. For the duly signed notice, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, so since no question, we are not expecting any questions. So any comment from the members of the BAC? Okay, hearing none. So I think we go to the next agenda.
Before we proceed with the next agenda, Mr. Chair, may I just acknowledge the presence as well of another technical working group, Engineer Emmanuel Tolosa. Sir, good afternoon.
Okay.
And
Good
user
afternoon,
from
sir.
afternoon, sir. And user as well, Engineer Rosemary Tan, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so uh, to the next agenda. Okay.
Ezra, kindly flash again the agenda for the next agenda. The next agenda, Mr. Chair, is the supply and delivery of 30 pieces, 20-liter pail lubricating gear oil to various radar sites in the amount of 1,500,000 pesos. End user ANS. Ezra,
So
may I
this
request
is a
pre-procurement, Mr.
pre-procurement.
Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
May I request Sir Florian or from the end user from the
Sir.
ANS
Yes, sir. Good afternoon,
will be
Mr. Chair.
presenting this project. Sige, sir, please po.
Thank you, sir. Can you see my screen now, sir?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen now. Pakilakyan lang konti siguro, sir, para mas ma-readable. Thank you.
This project is for the supply and delivery of 30 pieces, 20-liter pail lubricating gear oil to various radar sites. These radar sites are those installed under the CSATM. For the invitation to bid, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, through the CAAP Corporate Operating Budget for FY 2022, intends to apply the total sum of 1,500,000 pesos being the approved budget for the contract to payments under the contract for supply and delivery of 30 pieces 20-liter lubricating oil, gear oil to various radar sites. For the description, 30 pails of 20-liter pail packaging synthetic high performance gear and multipurpose oil with Kluber Comp Lube technology, Kluber lubrication, Kluber Synth GEM 4-220N or its equivalent. For its generic specification, with the following characteristics: viscosity grade of 220, viscosity at 40 degrees centigrade, 220 to 229, viscosity at 100 degrees Celsius, 27 to 30.4, viscosity index 155 to 180, pour point negative 45 to negative 40 degrees Celsius, flush point 200 to 250 degrees Celsius, density at 15 degrees Celsius, 850 to 881. And we have the delivery sites. Each delivery site will have three pails each. For the site name, we have the 10 radar sites installed under the CNSATM project. Apari, Lawag, Palawan, Manila, Mactan, Mount Magic, Calibo, Davao, and Bacolod. As in Zamboanga. Sorry. Bids received in excess of the ABC shall be automatically rejected at bid opening. The CAAP now invites bids for the above procurement project. Delivery of goods is required within 85 calendar days. Bidders should have completed within 5 years from the date of submission and the receipt of bids a contract similar to the project. Description of an eligible bidder is contained in the bidding documents, particularly in Section 2 of ITB. Bidding will be conducted through open competitive bidding procedures using a non-discretionary pass-fail criterion as specified in the 2016 revised IRR of Republic Act 9184. Bidding is restricted to Filipino citizens or sole proprietorships, partnerships, or organizations with at least 60% interest or outstanding capital stock belonging to citizens of the Philippines and to citizens or organizations of the country, the laws and regulations of which grant similar rights or privileges to Filipino citizens pursuant to RA number 5183. Prospective bidders may obtain further information from BAC Secretariat of CAAP, Mayor Road, Pasay City, and inspect the bidding documents at the address given below during office hours from 8 to 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday, except declared holidays, weekends, and suspension of work. A complete set of bidding documents may be acquired by interested bidders until the deadline of submission of bids from the given address and website below, and upon payment of the applicable fee of the bidding documents pursuant to the latest guidelines issued by the GPPB in the amount of 5,000 pesos. The procuring entity shall allow the bidder to present its proof of payment for the fees through email. The CAAP will hold a pre-bid conference through video conferencing or webcasting, Google Meet or Zoom application, which shall be open to prospective bidders, who will coordinate with the BAC Secretariat for the Google Meet or Zoom link. Bids must be duly received by the BAC Secretariat through manual submission at the office address indicated below on or before specified date. Late bids shall not be accepted. All bids must be accompanied by bid security in any of the acceptable forms in the amount stated in ITB Clause 14. Bid opening shall be on the specified date at the given address below and or via video conferencing, Google Meet, or Zoom application. Bids will be opened in the presence of the bidders' representatives who choose to attend the activity. The CAAP reserves the right to reject any and all bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award the contract at any time prior to contract award in accordance with sections 35.6 and 41 for the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 without thereby incurring any liability to the affected bidder or bidders. For further information, please refer to Engineer Leandro R. Marquez, Overall Head, BAC Secretariat, Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, Mayor Road, Pasay City, Metro Manila. And the bidding documents will be downloaded from the PhilJeps and CAAP website. For the ITB, Clause 1, scope of bid, the procuring entity CAAP wishes to receive bids for the supply and delivery of 20-liter pail lubricating gear oil to various radar sites. The procurement project referred to herein as project is composed of one lot, the details of which are described in Section 7, Technical Specifications. For the funding information, the GOP to the source of funding as indicated below for the FY 2022 in the amount of 1,500,000. The source of funding is the corporate operating budget. For the bidding requirements as is, Clause 4 as is, eligible bidders, only bids of bidders found to be legally, technically, and financially capable will be evaluated. Foreign ownership limited to those allowed under the rules may participate in this project. Pursuant to Section 23.4.1.3 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184, the bidder shall have an SLCC that is at least one contract similar to the project, the value of which, adjusted to current prices, using the PSA's CPI, must be at least equivalent to 50% of the ABC. The bidders shall comply with the eligibility criteria under Section 23.4.1 of the 2016 IRR of RA 9184. For the origin of goods, it's unchanged. For the subcontract clause, the bidder may subcontract portions of this project to the extent allowed by the procuring entity as stated therein, but in no case more than 20% of this project. The procuring entity has prescribed that subcontracting is not allowed. For the pre-bid conference, this is unchanged. Clause 9, clarification and amendment, is also unchanged. Clause 10, unchanged. For the documents comprising the bid financial component, this is also unchanged. For bid prices, for goods offered from within the procuring entity's country, the price of the goods quoted ex works, the cost of all custom duties and sales and other taxes already paid or payable, the cost of transportation, insurance, and other costs incidental to delivery of the goods to their final destination, and the price of other incidental services, if any, listed in the BDS. For goods offered from abroad, unless otherwise stated in the BDS, the price of the goods shall be quoted delivered, duty paid, with the place of destination in the Philippines as specified in the BDS. In quoting the price, the bidder shall be free to use transportation through carriers registered in any eligible country. Similarly, the bidder may obtain insurance services from any eligible source country. The price of other incidental services, if any, as listed in the BDS. For clause 13, bid and payment currencies, payment of the contract price shall be made in Philippine pesos. For the bid security, the bid and the bid security shall be valid until 120 calendar days. Any bid not accompanied by an acceptable bid security shall be rejected by the procuring entity as non-responsive. For clause 15, sealing and marking of bids, each bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second components of its bid. The procuring entity may request additional hard copies and or electronic copies of the bid. However, failure of the bidders to comply with the said request shall not be a ground for disqualification. If the procuring entity allows the submission of bids through online submission or any other electronic means, the bidder shall submit an electronic copy of its bid, which must be digitally signed. An electronic copy that cannot be opened or is corrupted shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. For the deadline for submission of bids, the bidder shall submit on the specified date and time, and either at its physical address or through online submission, as indicated in paragraph 7 of the invitation to bidders. For the opening and preliminary examination of bids, this is unchanged. Domestic preference also unchanged. For the detailed evaluation and comparison of bids, for clause 19.4, the project shall be awarded as one project, A being several items that shall be awarded as one contract. All the other clauses in clause 19 are unchanged. For post-qualification clause, within a non-extendable period of 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the BAC that it submitted the lowest calculated bid, the bidder shall submit its latest income and business tax returns filed and paid through the BIR electronic filing and payment system and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the BDS. For the signing of the contract, the documents required in Section 37.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 shall form part of the contract. Additional contract documents are indicated in the BDS. For the bid datasheet, for clause 5.3, for this purpose, contracts similar to the project shall be supply and delivery of oil and lubricants. And the track record must be a bidder should have completed within 5 years prior to the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. For clause 7.1, no further instructions. For clause 12, the price of the goods shall be quoted DDP to CAAP sites or the applicable Incoterms for this project. For the bid security, the amount of not less than 30,000 pesos, which is equivalent to 2% of the ABC, if the bid security is in cash, cashier's or manager's check, bank or bank draft guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit. Or B, the amount of not less than 75,000 pesos, which is equivalent to 5% of the ABC if the bid security is in surety bond. For clause 15, the marking and sealing of bids, each and every page thereof shall be initialed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Submitted eligibility, technical and financial documents shall be properly marked with index tabs and must be sequentially paginated in accurate order in the form, i.e. page 3 of 100. Pagination shall be sequential or throughout the documents inside the envelope. Bids not complying with the above instructions shall be automatically disqualified. Number 2, each bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second components of the bid. Bids not complying with the above instructions shall be, sorry.
Yes.
This will be removed. For clause 19.3, partial bid is not allowed. The goods are grouped inside a single lot and the lot shall not be divided into sublots for the purpose of bidding, evaluation, and contract award. For clause 20.2, no further instructions. For clause 21.2, other permits and other documents required by the procuring entity. We have the certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government, in addition to the eligibility requirements for bidders as prescribed under the revised IRR of RA 9184, and legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP ELS with respect to the non-pendency of any cases of prospective bidders against the authority. For the general conditions of contract, these are unchanged. For the special conditions of contract, for purposes of this clause, the procuring entity's representative at the project sites are the facility in charge or ship supervisor. For the incidental services, performance or supervision of on-site stocking of goods and furnishing of a material safety data sheet of its appropriate unit of the supplied goods. For the inspections and tests that will be conducted, and this will be the physical inspection of the goods. For the schedule of requirements, we have a total of 30 pails, 20-liter pail packaging, synthetic high-performance gear, and multipurpose oil with Kluber Comp Lube technology, Kluber lubrication, Kluber Synth GM4-220N or its equivalent. And for the delivered within 85 calendar days. The delivery sites, as stated earlier in the ITB, for the technical specifications, for the delivery terms, shipment of 3 pails, each to 10 raider sites. The price is inclusive of VAT and delivery or shipping fee to various sites. Delivery period is 85 calendar days. Warranty is 1 year. For the checklist of technical and financial documents, we have the usual Class A documents. For the technical documents, what is added are the legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP ELS and the certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government. For the financial documents, it's the standard requirements. Mr. Chair, the end user recommends that public bidding be the mode of procurement for this project. And furthermore, the end user recommends the posting of this of the bid documents. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Florian. Before we request the recommendation of TWD, is there any question from clarification from the other members of the back?
Question, Mr. Chair. Question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Okay. I will continue later. Sir General Milo, your question, please. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Sir Milo, go ahead po. Yung question po.
Okay, yes, sir. 1, 2, 3. How do you read, sir? How do you read? Para nawawala.
Okay,
1, 2, 3.
malakas na po.
Loud and
Malakas na.
clear.
Loud and clear. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sir, may I just to the end user, the amount is 1.5 million. Am I right? The ADC.
Yes, sir.
So this is 30 pieces. 30 pieces, 20 pail, and
Yes, sir.
the
20-liter pail packaging.
20 liters pail. Ibig sabihin, one pail is 20 liters ang capacity niya.
Yes, sir. Opo.
So if you further break down into liters, how much? Per my computation is 2,500 per liter. Ang worth nito na, what is this, lubricating oil?
Yes, sir. Opo. Mahal po siya.
Ito ay locally made o imported?
Imported po. Yung pong sinupply, sir, ng Thales ay imported.
So, do we have the specific name of this lubricating oil? Parang,
Yes, sir. The Kluber Synth.
Kluber Synth. Okay.
Yung po yung sinupply ni Thales.
So am I right in my computation is approximately 2,500 per liter ang worth nito?
Yes, sir. Correct po.
Mahal, ano? Sige, that's all, Mr. Chair. I just want to confirm. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Florian, if I may continue with my query. Yung nakalagay sa is to be delivered on site. So, are they going to deliver on site directly or i-deliver mo na dito sa central office for inspection and then sa kanila isi-ship dun sa iba't ibang site?
Dito muna nila, sir, i-deliver sa CAAP for physical inspection.
And then sa kanila isi-ship dun sa iba't ibang site?
Yes, sir. Opo. Or depende po sa arrangement with the winning bidder. Pwede din po kasing i-conduct ang inspection sa warehouse nila and then sila na mag-ship sa ano, sa kanila i-ship sa trader sites natin.
Okay. So kasi gusto ko lang kuno 'yon, baka magkakaroon ng confusion kung ano, hindi yata nakalagay doon sa document 'yon. Eh baka didiretso nilang i-deliver doon sa site.
Okay, sir. We'll check again, sir.
Okay. Sige, paki-kuwan lang 'yon, clarify. O kaya during the pre-bid conference eh mai-clarify 'yon kasi para hindi magkaroon ng confusion.
Noted,
Okay,
sir.
mayroon pang question sa mga ibang Elmer? Mayroon kang question? Ano?
None on my side.
Okay, okay. Sir Milo, mayroon pa kayong question? Okay, so
No,
kung
no more,
wala,
Mr. Chair, no more.
okay, kung wala na, so the request of the end user is for publication and for public being. TWG, any comment, please?
Sir, good afternoon, the members. Before we take our presentations, may we confirm from the end user if indicated mode of procurement in the APP is the contracting also, sir?
Attorney, cutting out ka.
Um, Can we ask confirmation, sir, from end user, the mode of procurement as indicated in the annual procurement plan, sir, or the APP is also public bidding, sir.
End user, could you please answer? TWG is asking if the one in the mode of procurement is public bidding sa APP.
Yes, sir. Nakalagay po doon ay competitive bidding.
Competitive bidding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With that, Mr. Chair, the technical working group is hereby recommending as well for the public bidding as a mode of procurement for this project, at the same time for the posting of this project, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Attorney. Any motion from the members with the recommendation of TWG? The recommendation of end user is for public bidding and posting of the project, and it was also supported by TWG. So I'm requesting motion or comment from the members of the BAC.
Mr. Chair.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Sir Milo.
Motion, Mr. Chair. I move the recommendation by the end user as concurred by the PWG that the supply and delivery of 30 pieces 20-liter pale lubricating gear oil to various radar sites amounting to 1.5 million to be posted and for public bidding as a mode of procurement.
Thank you, sir. Any second the motion?
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Elmer. So the BAC will adopt the recommendation for the public bidding and posting of the project for the procurement of lubricating oil as recommended by end user and concurred by TWG. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to
Yes, Mr. Chair. Next in the agenda, Mr. Chair, is the supply and delivery of ANS, Emergency Radio Communication and Power Systems, with an ABC of 8,050,000 pesos. End user, ANS. may I request again, Sir Florian or the rest of the end user representative
Thank you,
to
sir.
present the project for pre-procurement. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. This project is for the supply and delivery of ANS, emergency radio communications and power systems. This is for our area field offices. For the invitation to bid, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, CAAP, through the CAAP Corporate Operating Budget for FY 2022, intends to applying the total sum of 8,050,000 pesos, being the approved budget for the contract to payments under the contract for supply and delivery of ANS emergency radio communications and power systems. For the description, we have 10 sets ANS emergency radio communications and power systems consisting of the following equipment. Number one, we have the HF mobile point-to-point communications. This is a mobile HF transceiver, 125 watts, complete with standard accessories, antenna system, antenna tuner, and regulated DC power supply. For the next is for the VHF mobile air-to-ground communications. We have mobile VHF AM transceivers, 9 watts, complete with standard accessories, antenna system, and regulated power supply. For number 3, the VHF mobile ground communications. Under it are VHF FM handheld transceivers, 5 watts, and complete with standard accessories. Also, mobile VHF FM transceiver, 25 watts, complete with standard accessories, antenna system, and regulated power supply. For number 4, accessories for radio communications. We have rugged transport cases, which are customized. And lastly, the portable solar power generator with a rating of 1,000 watts. Bids received in excess of the ABC shall be automatically rejected at bid opening. The CAAP now invites bids for the above procurement project. Delivery of services is required within 90 calendar days. Bidders should have completed within 5 years from the date of submission and receipt of bids a contract similar to the project. The description of an eligible bidder is contained in the bidding documents, particularly in Section 2 of the ITB. Bidding will be conducted through open competitive procedures using a non-discretionary pass-fail criterion as specified in the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Bidding is restricted to Filipino citizens or sole proprietorships, partnerships, or organization with at least 60% interest or outstanding capital stock belonging to citizens of the Philippines and to citizens or organization of the country, the laws or regulations of which grant similar rights or privileges to Filipino citizens pursuant to RA number 5183. Prospective bidders may obtain further information from CAAP, from BAC Secretariat of CAAP, Nia Road, Pasay City, and inspect the bidding documents at the address given below during office hours from 8 to 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday, except declared holidays, weekends, and suspension of work. For the price of the bidding documents, it's in the amount of 10,000 pesos. The CAAP will hold the pre-bid conference through video conferencing or webcasting, Google Meet application, which shall be open to prospective bidders who will coordinate with the BAC Secretariat for the Google Meet link. Bids must be duly received by the BAC Secretariat through manual submission at the office address indicated below on or before the specified time and date. Late bids shall not be accepted. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any of the acceptable forms and in the amount stated in ITB Clause 14. Bid opening shall be on the specified time and date at the given address below and or via video conferencing Google Meet application. Bids will be opened in the presence of the bidders' representatives who choose to attend the activity. The CAAP reserves the right to reject any and all of bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award the contract at any time prior to contract award in accordance with Section 35.6 and 41 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184, without thereby incurring any liability to the affected bidder or bidders. For further information, please refer to Engineer Leandro R. Varquez, Overall Head, BAC Secretariat, Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, and the bidding documents may be downloaded from the PhilJEP's website and the CAAP website. For the instruction to bidders, for the scope of bid, the procuring entity, CAAP, wishes to receive bids for the supply and delivery of any ANS emergency radio communications and power systems. The procurement project is composed of one lot, the details of which are described in Section 7 of the technical specification. For the funding information, the GOP through the source of funding as indicated below for FY 2022 in the amount of 8,050,000 pesos, and the source of funding is the corporate operating budget. For the bidding requirements is unchanged. Also for the eligible bidders. For 5.3, the SLCC required is at least one contract similar to the project, the value of which, adjusted to current prices using the PSA CPI, must be at least equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC. For subcontract clause, the procuring entity has prescribed that subcontracting is not allowed. For the pre-bid conference, this is unchanged, as well as clause 9, clause 10, clause 11, clause 12. For clause 13, the payment for the contract price shall be made in Philippine pesos. For bid security, the bid and bid security shall be valid until 120 calendar days. For the sealing and marking of bids, its bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second components of its bid. For clause 16 and 17, these are unchanged. For clause 18, unchanged. For clause 19, under clause 19, 19.4, the project shall be awarded as one project, having several items that shall be awarded as one contract. For post-qual, this is also unchanged, and as well as clause 21. For the bid data sheet, for similar contracts, shall be supply and delivery of radio communications equipment or system, and must be completed within 5 years prior to the deadline for the submission of an end receipt of bids. For clause 7.1, now further instructions. For clause 12, the price of the goods shall be quoted DDP CAAP, Mia Road, Pasay City. For the bid security, the amount of not less than 161,000, which is equivalent to 2% of the ABC if bid security is in cash, cashiers, manager's check, bank draft, guarantee or revocable letter of credit. Or B, the amount of not less than 402,500 pesos, which is equivalent to 5% of the ABC if bid security is in surety bond. For clause 15, sealing and marking of bids, each and every page thereof shall be initialed by the duly authorized representatives of the bidder. Pagination shall be sequential all throughout the documents inside the envelope. Bids not complying with the above instructions shall be automatically disqualified. And for number 2, each bidder shall submit 1 copy of the first and second components of its bid. For clause 19.3, partial bid is not allowed. The goods are grouped in a single lot, and the lot shall not be divided into sublots for the purpose of bidding, evaluation, and contract award. For clause 20.2, other permits required are NTC permits to purchase and radio station licenses. For clause 21.2, other documents to be required by the procuring entity. Letter A, certificate from manufacturer or principal as authorized distributor of the radio communications equipment or system offered. And letter B, the certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government, and the legal clearance to be issued by our enforcement and legal service. For the general conditions of contract, these are unchanged. For the special conditions of contract, for purposes of this clause, the procuring entity's representative at the project site is Engineer Ernesto Tigagtan Jr. For the incidental services, the supplier is required to provide all of the following services, including additional services, if any, specified in Section 6, Schedule of Requirements. Added here is the letter E, application of permit to purchase and registration license with National Telecommunications Commission in coordination with the procuring entity. For the inspections and tests that will be conducted, this will be the physical inspection of the goods and operational tests of the equipment in accordance with the CAAP technical specifications as well as equipment manual. So ite-test po muna yung equipment bago siya i-accept. For the schedule of requirements, we have a total of 10 sets of ANS emergency radio communications and power systems consisting of the following. And the delivery time is 90 calendar days. So for the HF mobile point-to-point communication, we have for 10 sets, we have also 10 sets total mobile HF transceiver, total of 10 sets HF antenna system, 10 units of HF antenna tuner, and 10 units of switch mode regulated DC power supply 13.8 volts, 30 amperes. For the VHF mobile air-to-ground communications, each set of the ANS emergency communications, radio communications, and power systems will have two sets of mobile VHF AM transceiver, 9 watts, complete with the standard accessories. Two units of VHF omnidirectional airband antenna, 50 ohms with 20 meters, RG8U or RG213 coaxial cable assembly, and 2 units of switch mode regulated DC power supply, 13.8 volts DC, 15 amperes. So for 10 sets, we have 20 sets of VHF AM transceivers, 20 units of VHF omnidirectional airband antennas, and 20 units of DC power supplies. For number 3, VHF mobile ground communications. These are the equipment used for coordination between ground units. Each set will have 5 sets of VHF FM handled transceivers. Ito po yung mga walkie-talkie. 5 watts with the standard accessories. And then 1 set of mobile VHF FM transceiver, 25 watts. 13.6 volts, complete with the standard accessories, which will serve as the base unit. And then 1 unit for VHF omnidirectional antenna, 50 ohms with 20 meters RG8U or RG213 coaxial cable assembly for the base unit, VHF base unit, and 1 unit switch mode regulated DC power supply, 13.8 volts DC, 15 ampere for the base unit. So in total, we have 50 sets, VHF FM handled transceivers, 5 watts. We have 10 sets of VHF FM transceivers of 25 watts. 10 units of VHF omnidirectional antenna with coaxial cable assemblies, and 10 units of regulated DC power supplies. For the accessories for radio communications, each set will have a rugged transport case, 2 units, customized. And for the 10 sets, it will be 20 units of these rugged transport cases na customized po. For the portable solar power generator, each set will have an emergency portable solar power generator, 1,000 watts rating, 1,000 watt capacity, and 2 units of 200 watts monocrystalline silicon solar panels with built-in PWM pulse width modulation. So in total, for 10 sets, we have 10 sets emergency portable solar power generator and 20 units of solar panels at 200 watts. For the technical specifications, supply and delivery of 10 sets of ANS emergency radio communications and power system. Each set consisting of the following: 1 set mobile HF transceiver, 125 watts. Frequency range is 1.6 to 29.999 megahertz. Volt power supply is 13.8 volt DC, negative ground, complete with standard accessories. For the antenna system of HF, frequency range is 2 to 30 megahertz. Impedance is 50 ohms with 30 meters, RG58U coaxial cable assembly and balloon. and also 1 unit HF antenna tuner, and 1 unit switch mode regulated DC power supply, 13.8 volts DC, 30 amperes. For the VHF mobile air-to-ground communications, 2 sets mobile VHF AM transceiver, 9 watts. Frequency range is 118 to 136.975 megahertz. Power requirements is 13.6 volts DC, complete with standard accessories. For the antenna system, 2 units VHF omnidirectional airband antenna. Impedance is 50 ohms and comes with 20 meters of RG8U or RG213 coaxial cable assembly. For the power supply, 2 units switch mode regulated DC power supply, 13.8 volts DC, 15 amperes. For the VHF mobile ground communications, 5 sets VHF FM handled transceivers, 5 watts, 136 to 174 megahertz, and with standard accessories. For the base unit, 1 set mobile VHF FM transceiver, 25 watts, 136 to 174 megahertz, 13.6 volt DC, complete with standard accessories. For the antenna, 1 unit VHF omnidirectional antenna, 136 to 174 megahertz, 50 ohm impedance, with 20 meters RG8U or RG213 coaxial cable assembly, and 1 unit switch mode regulated DC power supply, 13.8 volts DC, 15 amperes. For the accessories of radio communications, 2 units rugged transport case customized. So we did not specify here the dimensions because it will depend on the dimensions of the radios that will be provided by the winning bidder. Although the idea would be naka-install na po siya doon sa rugged transport case. So pag-deploy niya sa isang airport, bubuksan na lang yung front and back sides ng rugged transport case, tapos ko-connect na lang po yung microphones and antenna systems. For the portable solar power generator, output power is 1,000 watts. Output waveform is pure sine wave. AC outputs, 220 volts AC, 60 Hz dual outlet or more. So minimum outlet po is 2. For the DC outputs, requirement are it should have a 24 volt DC and 12 volt DC output, as well as 5 volts 5 volt DC USB ports. For the battery is lithium ion battery. For the capacity of the battery is 25.9 volts, 41.6 ampere hour or higher. Power inputs to the solar power generator is 220 volts AC or 36 volts DC via solar. For the solar panels, 2 units, 200 watts monocrystalline silicon with built-in PWM. Charging time is 3 to 4 hours using built-in AC charger. Equipped with short circuit, overload, and battery protection. And other terms and conditions are the price is inclusive of VAT, NTC station license, and permit fees. Delivery period is 90 calendar days, and warranty is 1 year. For the checklist of technical and financial documents, for the Class A documents is the standard required. For the technical documents, the additions are the legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP ELS and the certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government. We did not include here the certificate from the manufacturer as authorized distributor of the radio communications equipment. It will be required to be presented during the post-qual. For the financial documents, these are the standard requirements. That's all for this project, Mr. Chair. And the end user recommends that public bidding or competitive bidding be the mode of procurement for this project. And the end user further recommends that the bid documents be posted at PhilJeps. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Florian. Okay, any clarification or question from the end user for the end user by the members of the BAC?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead,
I have,
Elmer.
I have only some clarification on the voltage requirement 13.8 and 13.6 as written on the voltage requirement of the BHF radio and the power supply 13.8. Florian, can you check? 13.8. It's
Sir, say
13.8.
again.
That's it.
The voltage requirement, the regulated DC power supply is 13.8 DC. I think that is for the BHF. Can you scroll down? There, one set. 13.6 volts DC, and the supply is, although it's points difference, can you not make it 13.8?
Okay, sir.
No, I see 13.8. Okay. Okay. Sige. So it should be 13. Yun pa,
Okay.
mayroon pa. 13.8. Mayroon pa, Elmer?
Meron pa yata sa baba. Just check, scroll down po.
BHF mobile.
Up.
Ito niya.
Ang dalawa yung floor eh. Paki-check na lang.
Sige.
Okay na, sir.
Check na lang. Okay.
Okay, sige. Meron pa, Mer? Ang, Florian, ang concern ko is yung delivery time, which is 90 days, that is 3 months. Considering na mayroong kang NTC clearance, and I assume this will be coming from abroad, palagay mo, may makapagkukomply dyan sa 90 days na yan? Mayroon pang integration yata na gagawin tulad nung paggawa ng casing.
Yes, sir. I think there will be bidders who can comply with the delivery period.
90 days. Okay. Sige, parang kuwan ko lang yan para later on hindi na tayo magkakaroon ng kuwan ng mga extension. Okay. Sige, thank you. Mayroon pang question? How about PWG? May question kayo? Okay, hearing none.
None, sir.
Okay, hearing none. So the recommendation of end user is for public bidding and posting. So may I hear comment from TWG?
Mr. Chair, uh, the technical working group, ALPA, adopt the recommendation of the end user that this project should be for public bidding and be posted.
Okay, thank you TWG. With that, there is a request of the end user, and it was concurred by TWG. Any motion or from the members of the BAC?
Mr. Chair, motion.
Go ahead, Elmer.
Okay, I move to adopt the recommendation of the technical working group to adopt the mode of procurement, the public bidding for the supply of ANS emergency communication equipment and to be posted at the field gaps, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Elmer.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. So with the request of end user concurred by TWG, and there is a first and second motion, the BAC will adopt that the recommendation wherein the mode of procurement is public bidding and for the posting of the project for the supply and delivery of emergency communication of ANS. Thank you. Next agenda, Secretariat.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Next on the agenda, Mr. Chair, is the preventive maintenance servicing of air conditioning system at Philippine ATM Center with an ABC of 1,520,000 pesos. End user, ANS, Mr. Chair. Sir Florian?
Okay. Just to clarify, this was already presented uh, during the pre-procurement. Is that correct?
Just Mr. Chair, we'll check on the records, sir, Mr. Chair, because this is only the first time again to attend the Alpha meeting.
Yeah.
With your indulgence, maybe I may request that the next agenda item will be.
Yeah. No. I'm just clarifying. End user, isn't it? Did you present it already? This one
Yes, sir.
in the previous meeting, including the item number 4.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So, and also this was already published. So this is the second bidding. This is the second bidding. What
Yes,
happened
sir.
before?
There are no participating bidders.
So if there is a failure of bidding before, so do we need to conduct pre-procurement or we go directly to rebidding? TWG, what is your recommendation? TWG?
Sir, as TWG, I would suggest that it should be for rebidding or reposting. But I don't, because we discussed this already and no one comply. No one is interested to join or they are not qualified to for this project. So I think we have to repost again or for direct negotiations because it's already a long time.
Yeah, I'm just asking why this project was returned to pre-procurement. What is the reason why this was there is a need to have it to undergo pre-procurement again, or what is the reason?
Uh,
No idea, sir.
if I may, Mr. Chair, as per the document submitted by Sir Florian to the BAC Secretariat or to the BAC Alpha, um, they recommended for the uh, procurement of this project to public bidding, considering that the project was not procured last year due to time constraints. So may I just clarify as well to the end user, to Sir Florian, sir, if this is the recommendation, latest recommendation you submitted to BAC Alpha. It is a memo dated March 18, 2022, Mr. Chair. So, so we propose that this matter will be subject to pre-procurement and the agenda for today's meeting, Mr. Chair. Sir Florian, can you expound further, Sir Florian, sir?
Thank you, sir. The bid docs was revised because we did not have we have not included the clause 15 before in the BDS, and then we also removed the requirement for the PCAB and subcontracting. So
Okay.
we revised the bid doc, sir. But yes,
Okay. So
it was tackled
right.
last year, but there were no bidders.
Okay. So there are changes on the bid documents. Oh, yeah. So that is the reason why we are going to present again for pre-procurement. However, in the interest of time, can we just concentrate on the bid document? We know already what is the project, what is the importance of this project. So could we just focus on the changes on the bid document?
Okay, sir.
Any comment from the other members of the BAC?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I agree with your recommendation.
Okay, end user. So
And beside, Mr. Chair, may I just add, in the
yes, sir.
in the interest of time, we also include the former and the revision, so that those who are not around can somehow be informed of the changes, the original plus the present revision.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So Florian, please go with the presentation with considering what was requested.
Okay, sir. Just for a while, sir, I will present it side by side.
Okay. Sorry yan.
Mr. Chair, while Florian is
Right.
preparing the files from the original and the revised, dalawa kasi yung ipe-prepare niya, including the next agenda item. Can I request the last item to be presented first and then to be followed by Florian for the interest of time?
Okay. Sige, mas maganda yun para mabilis. Okay. So who will be presenting for item 2.5?
May request again for the ANS.
Yes, sir.
To present these project spare parts for Thales Monopole Secondary Surveillance Radar nationwide with an
Yes,
ABC
sir.
of
Good,
5 million. Sir Jun, please. Opo. Thank you.
yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Sige, proceed. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to present our purchase request entitled Supply and Delivery of Spare Parts for Thales MSSR nationwide. The ABC of which is 5 million, and the source of fund is the approved APP 2022 under other supplies and materials spare parts with the APP code 0165. The CBA number is 2203147 dated March 1, 2022. As a backgrounder, shown here is the different installation under the CNS-8M upgrade project. These radars were installed to upgrade and provide reliable coverage of the Philippine FIR. As you can see, we have Lawag, Naiya, Calibo, Palawan, Pari, Mount Magic, Mactan, and Zamboanga, Davao, and Bacolod. Shown here is the double encoder. It is one of the fast-moving spare parts for Thales MSSR. It is an electromechanical device that uses light source, photosensitive detectors, and optical grating to convert rotary or linear position into an electrical signal. It is actually connected to the rotary joint of the antenna system that provides the azimuth change pulses. What's inside shown here, if you're just wondering, sir, there's no plastic inside, oversized bearing, and made up of ceramic materials. We already have chains, one in Palawan and Apari SSR, and we don't have any more spare parts for this double encoder. Shown here is our program of work. for the 2 units of double encoder. In as much as we would like to order more spare parts for the Thales MSSR, we are not able to purchase more because of budgetary constraints. Thales is a yes, sir.
2.5 million ang isa.
Yes, sir. So since this is proprietary in nature and they have a exclusive distributor here in the Philippines, PhD, we, the ANS, is recommending direct contracting, sir. And if this is approved, may we also request that this be posted at PJEP's website for this project, sir, purchase request, sir.
June, ilan ngayon ang ilan ang radar na nag-ooperate na isang system na lang?
Marami, sir, pero for the double encoder, sir, we have actually, sir, yung mga nag-ooperate ng is kulang sila ng MDRP, but not this spare parts na double encoder, sir. Manila and Paris, sir.
Okay. Mahal.
That's all, sir.
Okay, so, comment from the members. Okay, back. 2.5 million ang isa. So, ano yan, ititesting pag-deliver at sisiguraduhin, may warranty ba yun pagka ano?
Yes, sir, may warranty na 1 year. Yung delivery lead time, sir, is actually 12 months pa nga yung hinihingi nila.
12 months?
Matagal bago yes, sir, matagal bago nila ma-deliver to, sir. Kasi sa abroad pa manggagaling.
So, with this, include ba yung importation, at kung mga permit, kung mayroon, custom, kasama na lahat yan?
Yes, sir, kasama na lahat kasi direct contracting naman to, sir, wala namang i-deliver na lang nila lahat.
Okay, sige. Mayroong question ng ibang BAC members. The recommendation is direct contracting. Of course, kung by direct contracting June, dapat mayroon silang red ribbon or certificate of ano ba to? Loan distributor, diba?
Yes, sir, meron silang apostilled na document, sir. Hindi na red ribbon ginagamit ngayon, apostilled na, sir. And we have provided the back copy of their apostilled exclusive distributorship, sir.
Okay, sige. Well, napaghanap tuloy ako. Okay, sige. So with the request of the end user, any comment from the members of the BAC or any concurrence from TWG?
Sir, from TWG, I go adopt the recommendations of the end user for direct contracting, since this is a unique product of Thales, and immediate purchase, I think, is necessary. So we recommend direct contracting.
Thank you, Moises. So we have the concurrence of TWG. How about the comment from the members of the BAC?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Elmer.
Yes, move to adopt the recommendation of the technical working group, considering that this is a proprietary nature for Thales, to adopt the mode of procurement as direct contracting.
Thank you. Thank you, Elmer.
I second The motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. So with the recommendation or with the recommendation of end user and it was concurred by TWG, there is a motion and it was seconded that the procurement for the spare part for the monopulse radar be direct contracting, and also there is a request for posting. So that motion is hereby adopted by the BAC. Thank you. So Florian, ready na?
Mr. Chair, um, before we
Tony.
proceed with the last two items, may I just request the end user, Mr. Chair, to provide the details of the, the company, which is Thales, the address and the contact details for us to be able to send the notice or the RFQ to them. And if there's a authorized representative here in the Philippines of Thales, we will likewise be informed for us to be able to facilitate the receipt and of the noticer. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The authorized distributor is PHD, sir, Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporation.
Sige sir,
So
paki-email
end
na lang po
user
yung
kindly.
contact details nila. Opo. Sa Back
Okay,
Alpha
sir.
Asset
Thank you.
email. Thank you po sir. Yun lang po Mr.
Right.
Chair.
Okay, so Florian, for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Wala pa.
Can you now, sir? Can you see my screen now, sirs?
Yes, nakikita namin isang, isa lang ba? Sige, okay, yung proceed.
Uh, it cannot be displayed side by side. So I will present the old bid docs where I highlighted the the items that were changed.
Okay.
So for the ITB, so the overall head of the backsec is changed. This one. For clause 7 subcontracts, this this portion is deleted in the new or the revised bid docs. In the revised bid docs, subcontracting is not allowed. It's no longer allowed. For the bid data sheet, in the old bid docs, subcontracting is allowed, specifically the preventive maintenance of live birth precision air conditioning units. But in the revised bid docs, this clause is removed.
Wala nang subcontraction. Contracting.
Yes, sir. Wala na pong isa-subcontract na portion. And then we also do away with the PCAB license because the PCAB license is only required in infra projects. We also do away with the required certificates as authorized service maintenance provider for York brand of air conditioning system and Libert brand of PACU. This is uh, to open the bidding to more players and not to restrict it to and not to restrict it to only the few maintenance providers. Also, we have verified that York and Libert does not issue certificate as authorized service maintenance providers to the companies that services air conditioning units.
So anong kapalit nun?
Ang kapalit na lang, sir, is certificate of training in York brand of chillers. We also retain the copy of the PRC license ID of registered mechanical engineer. For the SEC, Julius is replaced by Gilmar Di Tiro as the current ANSF facility in charge. The terms of payment remain as is. Schedule of requirements is the same. As well as the technical specifications, the scope of works. For the checklist of technical and financial documents, DCSO, PCAB license, certificate, as authorized service maintenance provider of York and maintenance provider of Libert brand of Precision Aircon. So, Mr. Chair, I will be sharing the revised lead docs for the preventive maintenance of air conditioning system. This is the revised bid docs for the preventive maintenance servicing of air conditioning system at Philippine Air Traffic Management Center. So you can see at the ITB, Engineer Leandro Marquez is now the overall head of the BAC. And then for the instruction to bidders, subcontracting, in clause 7, subcontracting is not allowed. For the bid data sheet. In clause 7.1, it states no further instructions. The bid security amounts are the same. And then we have the clause 15. Clause 19.3 is now states that the goods are grouped in a single lot and the lot shall not be divided into sublots for the purpose of bidding, evaluation, and contract award. 20.2, no further instructions. In 21.2, in place of the requirement for certificates as authorized maintenance provider of York and Liebert Precision Air Conditioning, we have included copy of, we have retained the copy of the valid PRCI license ID of employed registered mechanical engineer, and then added copies of NC2 certificates in refrigeration air conditioning of maintenance technicians, and the copy of certificate of training in the maintenance of York chiller equipment. For the special conditions of contract, Gilmar Tiro is now the ANS facility in charge. Same terms of payment, billing after completion of its scheduled preventive maintenance. Same schedule of requirements. And same scope of works in the technical specifications. So in the checklist of technical and financial documents, sir, the legal documents is the standard requirements, and the technical documents, only the legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP and the certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government are included in the technical documents. The other requirements, the other required documents will be asked of the winning bidder during the post-qual. That's all, Mr. Chair, for the revised documents for the revised bid documents for the preventive maintenance servicing of air conditioning system at Philippine ATM Center. Thank you, sir.
Yung last page, yung tungkol number of copies, naalis mo ba yan? Yung last item, yung kung ilang number of copies submit.
Okay, sir.
Pakitignan, ikon mo nga sa pinatulog sa dulo.
In clause 15, each bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second components of its bid. And
one copy. So wala naman. Okay.
This is also reflected in clause BDS. Sorry. This will have to be removed.
Okay. Okay, ayos na. Pakitingnan nyo, baka mayroon pang scroll at kwan yung mga kwan na yan kasi that will cause another problem kung mayroon. Okay, so siguro okay na. General condition. Yung checklist niya. Baba.
Only the legal clearance and the certification under OTSER are added in the
Sige.
technical documents for the checklist. Financial
Original.
documents is as is.
Okay. Okay. Sige, thank you. Okay, with that, ano yung recommendation ninyo? Florian?
The, the end user, sir, recommends that this project be procured through competitive bidding and that the bid documents be posted in PhilJEP's website.
Okay, thank you, Florian. TWG? Comment, TWG? Wala ng TWG. Meron pa?
Sir President,
TWG. Oh,
sir,
okay.
the PWG recommends to adopt the recommendations of the end user that this project be for public bidding and should be posted.
Thank you, TWG. Okay, so with that recommendation concurred by TWG, any comments or motion from the members?
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Elmer.
Member move to adopt the recommendation of the TWG. The procurement be public bidding and the posting at the PhilJEP's website. Thank you.
Thank you, Elmer.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. So with the recommendation and concurrence of TWG and with the motion and second the motion, the recommendation for the posting and public bidding for this project is hereby adopted by the BAC. Thank you. Secretariat, next agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair. As for the Secretariat, I believe the end user already presented the two remaining
Yeah, wala pa. Yung isa pa lang.
yung conditioning system, Mr. Chair.
Wala, yung building management yata. Hindi pa, no?
Okay. So the last items, building management system, Mr. Chair. So the last item, Mr. Chair, is the preventive maintenance servicing of air conditioning system at Philippine ATM
Tapos na yan.
Baliktad.
There's two preventive maintenance servicing here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Florian,
So,
go ahead.
Sir Florian.
Go ahead with the presentation of building management.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I will be presenting the revised bid docs for the preventive maintenance servicing of building management system at Philippine Air Traffic Management Center. The revisions, the revised items are the same with the bid docs for the preventive maintenance of air conditioning system at Philippine ATMC. Notably the subcontracting, the PCAB license, the head of the overall BAC secretariat, so in subcontracts, the subcontracting is not allowed. Before, subcontracting was allowed in the old bid docs.
Florian, just a query, no? Last time you allowed the subcontracting for fire extinguisher.
Yes, sir, for fire detection.
Detection. So, yung kayang mga bidders mayroon silang complete complete experience or na makapag-kuan sila, makapag-bid sila, makapag-participate sila without subcontracting.
Yes, sir. In our research, there are companies who can provide the full scope of the preventive maintenance.
Sige.
The problem before, sir, is that the subcontractor for the fire detection has no eligibility documents.
Sige. So, ano ko lang kasi yun yung item dati. Okay.
Okay, sir. So for the sealing and marking of bids, each bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second component of its bid. For the bid data sheet, similar contracts and same years prior to the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. For the clause 15, is now added the pagination and the instructions for sequentially pagination, the paginating the bid docs. We did away with the PCAB license, but retained the certificate of site inspection duly signed by the ANSFIC of Manila ATMC. We also do away with the certificate as authorized maintenance provider of FM 2000 fire detection and alarm system. For the purposes of this clause, the procuring entity's representative at the project site is now Engineer Gilmar D. Tiro, the NS facility in charge of Manila CNS ATM facility. The terms of payment is unchanged. First billing after the completion of first semi-annual preventive maintenance, and second billing after the completion of second semi-annual preventive maintenance. The schedule of requirements is the same, as well as the technical specifications, the scope of works. The first preventive maintenance will be conducted 30 calendar days upon the receipt of the notice to proceed. For the checklist, the legal documents is unchanged. And for the technical documents, the legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP and certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government were added. That's all, Mr. Chair, and The end user recommends that this project be procured through competitive bidding, and it's recommending further that these bid documents be posted at PhilJEP's website. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Florian. With that recommendation, may I offer comment from the TWG? Manny, go ahead.
Good afternoon. The technical working group adopts the recommendation of the end user as the recommendation of public bidding as mode of procurement for this particular project, and recommends the recommends it for for posting.
Okay, thank you, Manny. Okay, so with the recommendation of the end user and it was concurred by TWG, comment and motion or motion from the members of
Motion,
the back.
motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, sir.
Uh,
Go
I,
ahead, sir.
yes, Mr. Chair. I move to adopt the recommendation of the end user as concurred by TWG to adopt the mode of procurement for the project preventive maintenance servicing of building management at Philippine ATMC amounting 2.178 million, and its mode of procurement be public bidding.
Thank you, sir. So with that, in second motion.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Elmer. So again, with the recommendation and concurrence of TWG, recommendation of the user and concurrence of TWG, there is a motion and second was seconded. The back adopt the recommendation for the public bidding and posting of the project servicing preventive maintenance of the management building management system of air traffic management center is hereby adopted. Okay, Secretariat, do we have another agenda?
The next item is, Mr. Chairman, is for other matters. For the Secretariat, we have no other matters to present to the committee unless the technical working group or the other members of the BAC has something to present, Mr. Chair, or to discuss. Thank you.
Okay, so any other matters that we need to discuss today from the TWG first? TWG?
Mr. Chair, as per Attorney Trump, there is no other matter to discuss as
Okay,
per
thank you.
TWG.
Thank you. How about the other members of the BAC? Do you have any other matters that need to be discussed?
None for me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
For PWG, sir, no other matters to discuss.
Okay, with that, so since there is no other matters, so and we have no more other agenda. So may I hear a motion for the adjournment of the meeting?
Having no more to discuss, Mr. Chair, I move for the adjournment of this meeting.
Second.
Okay, thank you. At medyo mahaba yung oras natin ngayon. So maraming salamat sa participation ng bawat isa. I hope and then see you next meeting. And the meeting is
Thank you,
hereby
sir.
adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.